In this video, I am going to show you how to make miniature versions of the woven blanket in the previous video, where we used freehand weaving technique to make a gorgeous woven blanket. We're going to use exactly the same technique, but we're going to make these little miniature versions. I thought these would be brilliant to use on tiebacks or headbands. You could use them as a base underneath any other embellishments like flowers or buttons or beads or any other kind of little shapes and floral little bits, or use them as they are or layer them on top of each other. I'm sure you'd come up with all sorts of ideas as to what you could do with them, but I thought we'd take the similar technique, so it's kind of thinking outside of the box with an original tutorial as a starting point. So yeah, we're going to go super mini, and I'm just going to show you how to do one of these. So here I've selected some different materials. So this one's quite a chunky one, but just doing it as a tiny kind of little bit. Up to kind of some thinner yarns. I love this one, which is really super kind of thin, but it creates this beautiful pattern and kind of texture when you do just a little bit. So it can be a little bit fiddly to do, but so, doable. And I love this one as well. This one is using the jute in a thinner kind of version. I'll get it to focus for you there. There we go. And again, makes this beautiful kind of pattern and texture. And, kind of put underneath with a kind of flower or something on top, I think would look great. It would really kind of help bring your tiebacks alive. So I'm going to show you how to make one. So I can move these to one side. I'm going to use a mat for this one, and I'm going to use this, not super thin, but it's a fairly sort of standard sized thickness of yarn. And I've got my trusty glue gun here. So first of all, we're going to do the woven bit. So as before, we're going to start with a cross in the middle, and then I'm going to put two either side on top to get us started. There we go. Then I'm just going to start my weaving. So I always then go for one underneath, because I only have to slide it underneath, and then one on top, which again I just need to pull up this middle one and slot it in underneath. Pull them close. Then I think I'm going to go for 3 lengths along. So it can be a bit fiddly, but as long as you stay kind of organised with it and make sure they all lie where they should be, then it's quite easy, really, and good fun. So I might keep it at that width with just 4 along, and I put some more down the sides. Okay, so again you can leave it as loose or as tight as you want it. Again, I've gone wrong with that one, so I'll put that one in again. I always double check at the beginning which way you should be doing it. So it goes over there, so I need to go under. There we go. I think I'll put another one on this side. So I'm kind of thinking about a tie back, so I probably want it quite long and thin. I've gone a little bit awry in here. Keep checking back and seeing that you haven't gone wrong. So it's quite a simple thing, but it's easy to make a mistake. And then put this one back in. Okay, so it's taking shape. I might put one more in. There we go. Right, next we need to glue the ends in place. So this bit can be quite fiddly because we only want a tiny bit blob of glue, and we don't want a gluey mess and to have our glue showing everywhere. So it's a little bit of a lesson in how to use the glue gun. So when you first turn it on, you sometimes have, get to focus, you can sometimes have a little blob of glue on the end, which is kind of leaked out. Is that going to focus for me? No. There we go. I don't know if you can see that little bit of blob of glue on the end. So first off, on our first one, I'm going to utilise that blob of glue because it's only going to be like a tiny amount. So I'm literally going to wipe that little blob of glue on the end to get rid of that bit. Then I'm going to lay my yarn on, and I'm not really going to press it down. I'm just going to kind of lay it and wiggle it around. Because the more you kind of press down on it, the more it's going to spread and kind of go everywhere. So then we're going to go on to the next bit. So now, again, I can see that I've got a tiny little blob of glue still left on there, so I don't want to squeeze any more glue out. So again, I'm going to wipe that bit of glue and then just lay it down and just kind of tap it. Don't really press it, just kind of tap it a bit. Right, now I'm going to need to squeeze some glue. So I brought a piece of paper here, and I'm going to squeeze. So you basically need to kind of gradually squeeze until the glue, you can see the glue starting to come out. So you're literally trying to get the very tiniest amount out and not just really pull it and have, look, there we go, it started to come out. But that first blob I'm going to let go on the paper, which means I've got a tiny blob left on my glue stick that I can then wipe on here and then press it down. So I'm really trying to avoid getting a huge blob of glue on one of these little connecting points, because I really want the smallest amount possible. So again, squeeze kind of as slowly as possible, and then just wipe the excess onto here. Right, so there we have one edge done. Now, because this is nice and fixed, I'm now going to kind of use this. I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to use that to then pull these lengths like up against it to get it a bit tighter, and knowing that that end one's not going to go anywhere because I've glued it down, I'm going to just kind of push them up with my finger, there we go, and get it a bit tighter. Right, so now I can glue. Actually, I forgot to tell you one bit at the beginning, is that the lengths that I've cut these bits, if you can see, I've cut them actually quite long. I haven't gone, oh, I need a tiny little bit for my tie back, therefore I'm going to cut this amount of yarn, because you're really going to find it fiddly and a pain to do then. So I've cut quite a decent length. It's about kind of 20 centimetres. So I've got plenty to work with. I'm going to glue it into place, and then I'm going to trim around the edges afterwards. So it just makes it that bit easier. So don't be afraid to cut quite big bits, and then just concentrate on what this little bit in the middle looks like, and then we can trim it. Okay, so now I'm going to glue the same technique. Actually, keep checking, I've got a bit of blobber glue left on the end. So instead of squeezing more, I'm going to use that bit and just wipe it, and then squeeze it a little bit. So again, you want to avoid pushing the glue through the yarn so it sticks to your table or mat. But it doesn't matter if it does a little bit, but that is the challenge, to stop it from going through so you don't get that mess. So again, squeeze just a tiny bit, wipe it on your yarn, lay it over the top and tap it down a little bit. And that is basically the easiest way to use just the minutest bit of glue. Without getting in a mess. And so you only need the tiniest amount to hold it in place. Okay, I'm going to turn it over and do the alternate strands. Need a little bit more there. Right, and then I'm going to turn it round and do the other side. So again, just my tiny blob of glue. Stuck just a little bit there. I'm going to pull that bit off. If there are any kind of little hard white bits of glue left at the end, you can trim them off and make it tidier. And do the last side. So again, I've got a bit of glue left on the end there, so I can just wipe that off, push it down, and then I think we're all done. So there we go. That is my finished little piece of weaving. So next, the last step is to just trim the ends so you have the finished kind of size that you want it to be. So I'm going to trim quite close to the edges. you go. I've ended up with a kind of square little piece. But there you go. There's your tiny little bit of weaving that you can add onto a tie back. And yeah, go and have fun. Have fun with doing miniature weaving, miniature woven blankets. Really cool. Right, see you in the next video.